kindly decided to trash the economy for us as a means of marketing our book.
Yes, towards brilliant marketers, they managed to yeah.
When's the movie?
So I actually dropped it off, it's very Hollywood to say this, I dropped it off at a director's studio today by, our agent had us drop it off, so I got all dressed up, mind you, I shaved, I made sure I looked good to drop the book off, and I wrote something nice in it, and then of course I met at the front gate by like a 20-year-old lackey who said, "Thank you very much, we'll take it from here." And then I was, so we would love it to be a movie for the simple reason that we have serious bills to pay off. But everybody, the people who have read it say that it actually tracks very nicely as a movie. There is action, there is courtroom drama, there is the sort of, all that kind of stuff. I hope they're correct. Yes.
So would you consider this future world utopian or dystopian?
It's dystopia with hope, interestingly enough. In other words, we create, and it was, Eitan and I desperately wanted to create a world in which the reader said, why is this guy causing the problems? Why is he making
Everything's
waves?
great.
Everything's great.
There's no hunger. There's no illiteracy.
Yeah.
There's no lack of health care. I mean, they've solved it, man.
Yeah, so why doesn't he just shut up and go with the program? And the truth is, and you'll see, I won't be giving away too much. I mean, he's like, all right, live and let live. I don't dig this notion of people owning a percentage of me, but we say in Yiddish, gig isn't a hay. Go in peace, have a good time. But it doesn't work. And this is where we sort of, the book is really about the crack that is in society, that his just saying no seems to cause a lot of problems.
His mere existence, the one person's lack of ability to conform, shows not the strength of the system, but the actual weakness. So in the end, it does show the dystopic nature of what appeared to be near perfect.
Right, but
in our opinion,
implicit in dystopia is all is lost. But we would like to think that our protagonist sort of represents a belief in something greater than something. It's got to be a quick one because lots of people have questions. Okay, go ahead. What's your quick question?
I'm your son. Can I ask you, am I mentioned in the book a lot?
You are mentioned in the book.
A lot?
Not a lot.
You're both mentioned.
Yeah, you're both mentioned in the book.
Oh, yeah, aha!
And that would be the entertainment portion of tonight.
Why?
Were there any other questions?
How's book 3 coming and how did you not kill each other writing a book together?
We have a very simple solution, one syllable.
They get along.
I'm serious. Like when we have like major disputes, and we have
you're insurmountable.
Yes, we go to the therapist, the couples therapist, because we are a couple. I mean, it's so weird. We're like married. We're you can't do that. Why can't I do that? Because you have responsibilities to me. Well, I'm So then we call mom, and mom sits us down and says, well, how do you feel? How do you feel? Let's work it out, and we work it out. But yeah, mom is the decider. But the truth of the matter is we're brothers, so we were raised together, and so a lot of, we've been on a lot of panels on collaborative writing, and the biggest thing that comes up is how do you work together without killing each other? And in those cases, it's more of a true question because you want to be sensitive to somebody else's feelings. I don't care about his feelings. I know him so long that if he proposes something that I think is stupid, I'm going to go, dude, what were you thinking? That sucks.
If he does something I find ridiculous, I pretty much go, dude, that was ridiculous.
Right.
Change it back.
There's not really ego involved. There's an outmatching kind of thing, but it very rarely comes down to creative integrity or something like that. Most often it will come down to sort of where do you need to be, responsibilities and things like that. More couples relationship stuff, which is ironic. Which is really funny. When we were up at Baycon, we don't look anything alike, and the card said Donnie and Eitan Collin, and someone in the crowd said, I don't mean to ask a personal question, but are you a couple? If it will sell more books, we are.
The other odd thing is that, although a lot of people have a tough time, when the story has to go through the cauldron of two minds, and the conflicting desires and the conflicting opinions of two people that can literally be honest with each other, it strengthens it considerably. Because you might be in love with something, you might think it's great and phenomenal, and then all of a sudden, you're not writing 5 chapters of this thought line, because by the time you got 2 paragraphs, your brother will look at you and say, oh, dude, what the heck, what's wrong with you?
I'm reading it serious.
We have time for one more question. Leo!
Ooh!
Writing process work. I'd like to
Ah, great question. That's a,
Billy Wilder, I.L. Diamond.
yes, it's a great question.
Work in a novel because it's a very different.
Yes, and especially with us, it's much different. It's having been on these panels and hearing how other people work together. It's fascinating to hear how we work, because I don't think we work in any way that other people normally do. Like, there's a famous writing team of Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle, and what they used to do is Larry Niven would get a character to a point, and then Jerry Pournelle would like kill the character or put him in an impossible situation and see if Larry Niven could get him out of it. And that's how they would work. Your turn. See what you can do now. We don't do that. This is Eitan's world. This is his idea. I'm fortunate that I get to bring it out and bring it to life. But the way we do it together is...
The nuts and bolts is we will get together in Mom and Dad's jacuzzi, and we will
We are going to have the jacuzzi bronze, by the way.
pretty much. It'll be in, whatever science fiction writers Hall of Fame there is,
without-
it needs to be there. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll outline about 2-3 pages, the story, where we want it to be, beginning, middle, end. Sometimes we'll have an end scene in our mind very clearly. And then once we have that outline, I will begin what I just call the raw creative process, which is either chiseling it out of stone or, just, throwing it out on the paper or just typing and throwing the pages behind me. Just this massive blob of here's this whole world, which I call A to D. Because I will jump from A to D. I don't care about B and C. I don't care about how he walked into the room or what he was drinking or how the lights get turned on. I will carve a path through the forest that you basically need a hacksaw to follow me through. Then,
So half of our relationship is me going, what did you mean here? Well, I meant that they were going to do this and they were going to do that, and then they had to jump through this, and and I'm like, well, you didn't explain any of that. Well, that's what I meant. So it's then sort of up to me to
isn't it clear?
Right. So look, my background is advertising copywriting. I love the craft of paragraphs of words. I love making things flow so that you're compelled to go to the next sentence. And I love research and I love learning. So I'm happy to have Eitan go to D if it means that I get to research the Maginot Line and I get to take the virtual tour and I get to describe every inch and detail of it as they walk through this part of the book and discover what it is they discover at the end, which is where Eitan wanted to get us to. So together we sort of create, he's got the world and I love the craft and building stuff up. And what can happen is Eitan can give me 5 pages, and the way this process works is I could end up cutting it down to 1 because there might be just too much superfluous stuff, or building it up to 10 or 11 depending on what might be missing. And that's how we go back and forth. Once it's done, I'll feed it back to Eitan and he'll say, you missed a critical point, or you needed to add this, or I disagree, and then maybe we'll
What happened to my favorite character?
Right. He brought back a character that we had killed, which was quite interesting. I won't tell you who.
Had to sneak it in there.
So that's the last question. We will now essentially, William, we're going to resume the hanging out and signing of the books, correct?